Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Tiffany Para, host of Girl Powerhouse on Mupo Entertainment. If you have not downloaded Mupo Entertainment just yet, go to your iOS or your Android device and download it now. Go to Mupo Entertainment, and then you can check out all of the episodes that we have with our amazing women. Now, here on Girl Powerhouse, we celebrate all those women out there that are standing in their power and their purpose. They are really showing us how to show up and show out in life. And today's guest is an amazing young woman. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on in. Hey, Dee, how are you, Girl Powerhouse? Welcome.
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for joining me today. You are definitely a girl powerhouse, I tell you. So please introduce yourself. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are, Dee.
Yeah, well, first, this is amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I really, I love just empowerment in general. I am an empowerment coach, so this is like this is like really lighting my fire. So thank you for that. So my professional career started as a community outreach worker. So I really learned empathy and compassion in that job. I was able to go and educate at-risk communities about disease prevention. And I was also able to go into the jails, go into the substance abuse clinics. So I was really able to see humans, just real humans, and again, that really gave me some compassion and some empathy. I then worked as a grant manager and, worked with bringing funds in to help people get treated for Hep C. And then I did learning and development. So really, it was always about humans for me, and always about empowering humans to be their best selves. So, and right now I'm really excited that I'm starting my new venture with Ignite Purpose. It's a global company, Ignite Purpose, and Christina Foxwell is the founder. So we have a shared mission. So we have joined forces, and I will be bringing services here to the U.S., and I'm just really excited about seeing who we can empower.
Yes. Well, big ups to Christina out there as well on the good work that she is doing too. So, oh my goodness, I just love it. I love it. I love just empowering people, right? It's just amazing just to tap into a person's greatness because everybody is great. So,
Everybody is great. And I think that's something like in society we're all about competition
yeah.
and who could outpeck who. And honestly, that's really exhausting.
It really
And
is. It
it
is.
also doesn't give us the opportunity to be our best selves because we're
That's right.
constantly trying to outdo someone else rather than just outdo ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, so what characteristics do you feel that you have that are in alignment with this girl powerhouse movement?
Yeah. So honestly, so in my life, I've had a lot of adversities that I had to overcome. And one thing that I never did was give up on myself. And to me, that speaks volumes because I wouldn't be standing right here if I listened to the naysayers, if I listened to people that said I wasn't good enough, if I listened to people that said I'm too this or I'm too that. And inside, even though I had struggled with mental health for years, inside I must have always known that I was meant for something better, or else I wouldn't be here right now having this conversation. So I think that is vital for anybody who just wants to grow, wants to be the best version of themselves, is to quiet the world around you and work on your dialogue and work on how you talk to yourself, and remember that you are your biggest superpower.
Yes, you are. And you have to be your biggest cheerleader. I mean, there's going to be people that are going to, come into your life and you start telling them about your dreams and your aspirations and things, and they essentially kind of poo-poo on your parade, right? Because it's not their dream. It's not their purpose. So, like you said, quiet out all the noise and the naysayers because you have to make room for yourself to jump out and stand in that power and purpose.
Yeah. Well, and also remember that when somebody is judging you, they're judging you from their perspective, from their lens. And if, they haven't, you haven't been through what I've been through. I haven't been through what you've been through. So how could I possibly judge you based on my own lens? And that's when that empathy really comes into play. So I think remembering that when people are judging you, it's more about them than it is you. And I think we tend to internalize that. When people judge us, we tend to say, oh, well, there must be something wrong with me, especially as women. There must be something wrong with me if this person doesn't like me or this person doesn't get what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have to say, no, we're better than that. Right.
And that's exactly where it is, what it is. I mean, if you look at anybody great, like as of right now, it's 2023, Taylor Swift is killing it. Look at how many naysayers she had, people who told her she can't sing or no one's going to like her music. She bet on herself. She bet on herself and she said, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove myself right. I know that I'm special and I'm going to prove myself right. And, you can either come with me for the ride or you can just stay there and be a naysayer.
Right. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
All right. We're going to go ahead and cut to a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be right back with Miss Dee Hoch. Right back.
How fun was that commercial?
Right? I am always dancing in my seat with that commercial. It's just amazing.
It. That was so much fun.
So we are back. This is Girl Powerhouse on Mupo Entertainment. And again, we have Miss Dee Hoch with us today. Just an amazing empowerment coach, someone that is in true alignment with what it is to be a girl powerhouse. So thank you again for being here, Dee. So Dee, tell me, who is a girl powerhouse that has inspired you to just be who you are and just kind of stand in your power and purpose?
Yeah, I've had a few. I would say most recently, I'm just going to bring it back to Christina Foxwell, she's the global CEO of Ignite Purpose. And I bring it back to her because I had experienced, like I said, I experienced trauma, I experienced adversity, and I never really knew what to do with it. Even when I quit my job, quit my corporate and said, you know what, I'm going to start my own company, I still didn't know how to bring it to the next level. I was like, I have all this passion, I have all this drive, and I don't really know what to do with it. And I met Christina, and she is someone who will say, we're driven by fear. And when we replace that fear with love, like, how amazing can we be? And she really, she has those uncomfortable conversations with me, those conversations where, I would, before having those conversations, I would be like, almost offensive, like, offended. Oh my God, like, this person hates me. And I would like internalize it. And with her, it just wasn't like that. It was more of that empowering. So I say her because when the way she shows up makes me excel the way that I show up. And those are the people that you want in your life. You want the people that are going to, bring you to that next level and hype you up and fuel that fire that you have inside you. And I would say she's someone that does that for me. And I know I want to be that person that does that for others as well. So it really, she has that aura or about her.
She's one of those sheroes out there, and I love that, and I love, I got to go back to what you said about the transition from corporate to your own business,
Yeah, that's hard.
because that right there is a very, very hard transition. And if you don't have the right people in your space, you could crash and burn so easily.
So
So
easily.
can you just kind of talk a little bit about that, that whole transition and that whole experience?
Yeah.
Because I know that there are, some ladies out there that are probably, just waiting to jump, and, they
Yeah.
just, again, it's that fear, right? And you said
Right.
lead it with love instead of fear. So yeah, let's talk.
Yeah. So I would say when I first quit my job, and I had a realization. I was like, I'm not meant to be here. I'm meant for so much else. And
Yeah,
I really had to take the time out. As much as, I started my company and I was ready to do it, I was like, I'm not healed, if I'm being
yeah,
honest. I still have a lot of trauma. I still have a lot of, you know, insecurities that I need to work through before I can effectively help others.
yeah,
So I would say the first step is heal yourself. Whether that be see a therapist, whether that be see a coach, whether that be confine in a friend, however that is, release those feelings of negativity as much as you can. And then I know with Ignite Purpose, so we follow a hive culture within
mhm,
Ignite Purpose. So everyone has a shared vision, everyone knows their purpose, everybody matters. So
yeah,
I think working now with an organization that understands that and where we can have organic conversations like, you know, hey, Christina, this happened and I feel triggered.
yeah,
And this has happened to me before in a previous situation, and it wasn't great, right? It,
yeah,
it caused me problems. It, messed with my relationships. It did this. I don't want this to happen again, but I need you to understand that I'm triggered. And those conversations are conversations that we do not have in the corporate world.
yeah,
And those are conversations that we need to have in order to heal
absolutely.
from the trauma of childhood, from the trauma
Mhm,
of life, from the trauma of
mhm,
work.
right,
So we need to have these conversations. So I think for me, it's surrounding myself with people that understand that and
yeah,
understand that I have scars. Everyone has scars.
right,
And that those scars can be triggered. And the only way that we're going to move through these scars and truly heal is by having these conversations and allowing these conversations to occur.
right, yeah.
Where right now we don't, in corporate America, we don't allow those conversations to occur.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like we do the opposite, that's kind of how you're trained in a sense. I mean, you and I have spoken, offline before about, HR and, being in that space, and you don't hear conversations. You don't hear human conversations, good conversation in the office. You're always hearing more of the competitive, stuff, the banter, things like that, and it's so toxic. So I just
Yeah,
commend you for,
thank you.
saying, hey, you know what, I matter more than this, and I got to get
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah. I think for me, honestly, I wasn't lit up, right? Like I have a podcast called What Lights Your Fire. I wasn't lit up. I was just going through the motions of
Mm-hmm.
working.
Yeah.
And really working on that survival mode that was instilled in me when I was a child, where
Yeah.
you work, you don't throw a fit, you don't show your emotions. It's separate, right? You go to work, you do your work, you come home, and then you live your life.
Yeah.
Well, that's that was great at the time, right? But what it did for me is it burned me out. It burned me
Yeah.
out because I didn't have an outlet, right? I
Right.
didn't have an outlet to say, you know what, this is going on in my life and it's affecting me. It was more of, you leave your crap at the door.
Right.
And, and that's just, to me, that just doesn't work. How can you leave your crap at the door when you're human and you're not two people, you're one person? So, and that's where being authentic really goes into it, is be yourself, unapologetically yourself. Be nice, be kind, be, human to human, but know your boundaries, know your worth, and be authentic, and know that you bring something to the table, because everybody has something to bring to the table, and everybody is at least 10% right.
Yep. And I think if you just internalize that stuff while you're in that space, it ends up showing up very negatively in the physical, in the mental. I know, being in corporate myself, and just keeping that smile on your face, and just, not talking about the things that you're feeling. For me, it started to come out in a very negative way. I was having panic attacks, things like that, had no idea. But after actually saying, okay, let me go and speak to a professional on this. And you brought up, going to talk to a therapist, talk to coaches, things like that. Sometimes in certain families, that's a no, you don't do that, right? You don't talk to anyone.
Yep.
So I had to get to that breaking point to actually get out of it. And, it's, you have to just listen to your body and just know, before it happens, because I think, once you break, sometimes it's a little bit harder to come out of that.
It is. And you and I had talked a little bit about generational trauma. And I think that that's really what it is. And, not just within childhood, but generational within corporate America. We're so used to doing something the same way. And like the cringiest statement for me is, we've always done it that way. And for me, I'm like, yeah, you've always done it this way, but what has it cost? Like mentally, what has it cost people? What has it cost, that not talking through this trauma can really, what you're doing by not talking about the trauma is you're not allowing your employees to be innovative. You're not allowing them to be creative. You're not allowing to have the conversation, and you're certainly not being psychologically safe.
Right.
So it's up to the individual to educate themselves and say, you know what, this is not a cycle that I want to stay on. So I'm going to step out of that cycle.
Right.
And we see it within parenting. The goal of parenting really should be to do better than you were raised. Raise the person better than you were raised. And if we continue to do that, and we continue to do that in work as well, imagine where we're going to end up. It's just, the next generation should be better, rather than us saying, oh, these Gen Z people, or these, baby boomers.
Right.
How about everybody we can learn from the Gen Zs. I have nephews that are Gen Zs.
Yep.
They teach me things all the time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Learn. So really breaking out of that generational trap that we get into, and saying, you know what, I'm going to do better. I'm not going to make these same mistakes over and over, because if we don't take a step out of the cycle, things are never going to change, and we're still going to be having these same conversations.
We are. Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Well, Dee, we're going to cut to another quick commercial break, and we will be right back with Dee Hoch.
loving these commercials.
I love the Mupo commercials. Oh my goodness. Look, now that was Mupo and Friends. You definitely need to watch Mupo and Friends. They have some celebrity interviews on there and they are fantastic. Michelle Mupo, the host, as well as Emanuela, her co-host, they are just amazing. They bring the energy. So
I
definitely
love
check
it.
it out. So we're back with Girl Powerhouse and we have our special guest, Miss Dee Hoch. So Dee, so tell me, you juggle a lot. You're a mom. You're a business. You're a business leader.
Mhm.
You're also living life and everything in it as well. So share a little bit about how you kind of like find that balance in it all, because there's a lot of women out there that might be hitting that breaking point because they just don't understand how to find balance.
Yeah, and I think that's a great question. And the women that are hitting their breaking point, I've been there. I've been at my lowest point. And I think for me, it's the soul searching, right? Like the really like, let's get ourselves right. Right? Let's get ourselves right. Let's figure out who we want to be. And I think
Yeah.
that's what I really had to do. I figured, I really did a lot of soul searching, a lot of, I looked at a lot of the dirty parts, right?
Mhm.
Like we all have those nasty parts that we're not proud of. I looked
Yeah.
through those parts. I've, working through acceptance. And really for me, it was, what kind of parent do I want to be? What kind of friend do I want to be? What kind
Yeah.
of wife, what kind of worker, and so on and so forth. And I think once I started really stripping it down, taking off all the fluff, all of the societal expectations, all
Mhm.
of the what am I supposed to do, who am I supposed to be, and really said, you know what, Dee, who is it that you want to be? Where
Yeah.
is it that you want to be? And having that real, truthful conversation with myself, I was
Yeah.
able to align my life and I was able to figure that out. So now I'm at a point where I work when I'm productive, right? Like today, it's Sunday morning. Most
Yeah.
people don't work on Sundays, but we're having a conversation and it's great, right? So I work when I feel more productive. I have those open conversations. So I'm, like I said, with Christina, I have those conversations with Christina, with the other people that I work with my
Yeah.
husband. I can have those conversations and I can say to my husband, hey, I'm at like a 20% right now. Like I'm
Mhm.
not feeling great. And, I don't know if I can do XYZ. And
Right.
then that's when he says, well, I'll take over XYZ for you. You rest. So it's having people in your corner that are going to support you and that are going to say, you know what, I know that load is heavy. Let me take it for you for a little bit. Let you
Yeah.
relax, and recharging yourself and saying, you know what, I am not a robot. I'm a
Right.
human, which means that I cannot give out if I'm not putting in.
Right. Yeah.
So before you can make a withdrawal, you got to make deposits. So,
Okay.
you know,
Absolutely.
it's the same thing. You have to put your oxygen mask on first. They say that
Yeah.
on the flights, right?
They
Or
do.
you'll pass out if you don't. You're not going to help anyone if you're passed out. So I think getting yourself right first, deciding who it is that you want to be, and then committing to being that person and not giving up when it's hard, because
Yeah.
it will get
Yeah.
hard. It will
They
get
will.
hard. You will get triggered, but you don't give up on yourself.
Yeah.
Have the people around you to do that. And then with parenting, I have a 17-year-old, I have a 12-year-old. They're not the easiest ages, right? But I'm able to have those conversations, those real conversations with my children
Yeah.
about, just human expectations. Like, this is the type of human, I would love for you to be. And I know that you are. And really, when I'm correcting the behaviors, it's not, there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
This is just a behavior that can be corrected. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, for me, it's perception. It's shifting your perspective, and the way that you look at things was life changing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you said as telling someone and asking for help. It's okay to ask for help. I think we as women, we don't know how to ask for help a lot of times, because we feel
because
like
it's not acceptable.
Right.
Like we're supposed to do all these things, like with America Ferrera from the Barbie movie. Perfect.
Yeah, right.
Right. We're supposed to do all these things. We're supposed to smile, and we're supposed to lift the other person up, and we're supposed to, to do all these things. But yet, like, we have all these barriers in front of us, and
Right.
stand up straight and put your shoulders back and make sure you smile and look this way and say hi. And it's exhausting.
It is.
It's exhausting. And that's why, like, stripping away from what society tells you to is so important.
It is, absolutely. So, Dee, what's one of the most profound life lessons that you've learned so far?
Oh my gosh, there's so many so far. I would say, and I guess this is just a consistent with the theme here, just don't give up on yourself. Don't listen to the people that really, they don't live your life, right? They're not inside your head. The only dialogue that really matters, truly matters, is the dialogue that's in your head that you have with yourself. Because once you get yourself right, once you are in that positive mindset, you can do anything. And the world is going to look different when you're looking at it that way. And when you change that dialogue, like even, you're a fitness guru, right? When you look into talking about, losing weight, it'd be easy for me to say, wow, I shouldn't eat this because I'm so fat. Right. And I've said that. But what if instead of saying that, we say, I shouldn't eat this because I care about what I put in my body.
Right. Change the dialect. Yeah. Yeah. It's so much more positive that way, right? Because I think when you focus on, don't eat this because it's going to make me fat. Well, you know what? You're already putting that in your head that you're possibly going to get fat, right? So eventually it's going to wind up happening because you already have it in your mind.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
It really is. And I never understood that. Like, it took me a long time. So I would say that would be another lesson, would be, what you believe is the truth. Right. Absolutely. So if you believe that you are, not good enough, well, you're not ever going to be good enough because you don't believe you're good enough. But once you believe you're good enough, and once you believe that you deserve good things will come your way.
Absolutely. We're going to cut to our final commercial break, and then we are going to come back. We're going to talk about a few favorite books and some other inspiration behind just being a girl powerhouse and stepping into that power. So we'll be right back. So much fun. So much fun. Got me over here dancing this morning. We are back, Girl Powerhouse on MUFO TV, MUFO Entertainment. Download us on your iOS and your Android device, or you can go to MUFOentertainment.com. So we are back with Dee, Empowerment Coach, and we are talking about how to just step into that power and purpose and just become that girl powerhouse. So, Dee, I know there's a lot of books out there to really inspire us and motivate us to, step into our power and purpose and things like that. So, what's one of your favorite books that has really just helped you to step into that girl powerhouse?
Yeah. So honestly, I'm gonna take it back to when I started like my journey, and I read "You Are a Badass" by Jen Sincero. There's so many nuggets in there, and really, it just depends on you and your personality and what motivates you. So, I mean, if you are looking at books, look at the title. Like for me, like "You Are a Badass," that was like, yes, I am. I need to like that's. I know I am, but I need to feel that I am, right? And within that book, I learned a lot of different, lessons. And I pulled up some quotes. Like one of them are, "You are responsible for what you say and do. You are not responsible for whether or not people freak out about it." And I think for me, that was huge because I people pleaser. I was like, well, I want a positive response, right? Or I want this. And then people would take what I say in, not the way intended. And then they'd freak out. And then I'd be like, oh, and internalize it and say, oh, well, something's wrong with me. So I think remembering that I am in control of how I view that. So I am only responsible for my own actions. I am only responsible for what I can control. I think was huge because another, thing of mine was controlling. I would try to control the situation because I felt so out of control. And then realizing that I felt out of control because I was trying to control things that could not be controlled.
Yes.
So that was a huge one. Yep.
We can't control how people think, I mean, people are going to think what they want to think. And like you said, it's their problem, not yours. And however we take it, right? Like you said, you feel like, hey, I'm a badass. Yes, you are a badass. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says. You just continue to step up and stand in that badassness, right?
Be a badass. Be a kind badass, though, right? Like we're not talking about like negative, things or, as long as when you have conversations, the intent matters, right? Yeah. So if you're thinking in your head that this person is intending to hurt me, then of course it's going to come out that way, right? But if you're thinking in your head, I have no ill intent from what I'm saying and what I'm thinking, everything that I'm saying is just my truth and just the way that I have, and I would never want to hurt anybody. And then saying what you have to say and then just leaving it at that and just, believing that they'll take it the way that you intend. And if they don't, that they'll have the courage to come to you and say, hey, I didn't like that. And then that's where the conversation and the growth happens.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Another thing that I learned, this is a huge thing. So when I was younger, I do this sometimes now. I want to justify my answer. Right? So if I say no, well, why don't you want to do this? Well, this is the reason why. And I give all this information into my life as to why I can't do that. And reading You Are a Badass, one thing that she says is no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
You don't owe anybody a justification. Now, of course, if you have a relationship, so like if my best friend, for example, like if I say no to my best friend, like I'm going to tell her why, because she's my best friend and that's okay if she knows this information. But just because someone asks you why, you don't owe them an explanation. If you want to give them an explanation to help nurture the meaningful connection, then yes, of course, give them an explanation. But everybody does not deserve, or not deserve, let me not say that, does not need your explanation.
Right.
And you decide who deserves your explanation and who doesn't. So I think that was life-changing for me as well.
Oh, and that's good stuff, because I'm just the way trying to justify everything. I've been like that through the years, and just being able to say no, for one, it saves time. Okay. It saves, the mental as well. It keeps you emotionally balanced. I mean, once you just get in the flow of being able to say no.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and now I think I've extended that to just no, because it doesn't match who I am authentically.
Yes. Yes.
With those bigger things, or but I've also recognized that many times when I would say no, I didn't have a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that to me internally says that it's fear-based. Because if I say no, like going, I have social anxiety. So like going to a huge, party, if I say no, am I saying no because it authentically doesn't match who I am? Or am I saying no because I'm fearful? And that is a big self-reflection moment, right? Because if you're saying no because you're fearful, then that's a different conversation. Because you're operating on fear instead of love. Because if you're operating on self-love, well, then you know why you're not going to go there, right? You're not going to go there because it doesn't fit who you are authentically. But if you're operating on self-fear, then I'm not going because I'm afraid I'm going to be judged, or I'm afraid that I'm going to be put in an uncomfortable position, or the list goes on.
And that's when the opportunities are lost, right? Because usually when you don't get into those circles, or maybe as you said no to that party because you were scared, right? But then that one person that could have been a conversation that could have maybe taken your life to a totally different level, and you said no to it because you were scared. But if you're, in alignment with it, and it's like, well, yeah, I like being around people. I like talking to people. I like meeting new people. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And just jump out. I mean, just doors.
Yes. Well, and that's when the magic happens, is in that uncomfortableness. Now, when I talk about uncomfortableness, like I'm talking about when you're doing something that you generally wouldn't do. Right. And that's why I try things at least once. Right. Because whenever you're doing something that you're not generally, that's outside of your norm, you are learning something new. Your brain, you're exposing your brain to something new, to a new experience. And when you do that, and it's something you've never experienced, wow, the possibilities.
Right.
Wow, the possibilities. You have no idea what it will open up for you by just stepping, again, we talk about stepping away from that cycle.
Right.
Stepping out of that cycle. You have no idea what's out there, and you never will if you don't take the time to be uncomfortable.
Right. Just do it. Just do it. Be uncomfortable. Oh, I love it. Well, Dee, I tell you, when we get on these shows, the time goes so quick. But I have one more question for you before we end today. So please, if you could just give our audience just some words of wisdom, words of encouragement, just something that they can take forth in life, and just be able to, have a little more oomph in moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I've said it, but it's really just don't give up on yourself. I think like that's the biggest lesson that I wish that somebody would have said to me, because I feel like that was never said to me, right? Yeah. Like it was more where I had that internally, and then of course I had my husband, and I had like close friends, but because I wanted that validation outside, I never got it. But because I never gave up on myself, I was able to find that self-validation. And I validate stuff for myself. So I would say, go on that journey. Find out who you are. Find out who you are supposed to be, who you want to be in your highest self, and be that person. And don't give up on yourself. Don't let people tell you your worth, because only you can determine what your worth is. No one else can determine your worth.
Yes. Ooh, I love it, Dee. Well, thank you so much, honey, for joining us today. You, again, are such a true girl powerhouse. Continue to rock and roll out there in life. Continue to inspire and empower everyone out there, including all the men out there as well. It's girl powerhouse, but we empower everyone here because we are really inspired just to find balance in life with everyone. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today on Girl Powerhouse. Again, definitely look up Mupo Entertainment on your iOS or your Android device. Get it downloaded so you can watch all of the Girl Powerhouse episodes, as well as many more episodes from many other great talents with Mupo. Love you so much. We'll see you next time. Take care.